dread and terror upon them. Hey.
Hello, my name is Thomas and welcome to this second video in the series, and it's the first book review. Just a reminder, I'm looking at the books that James Bond seems to read in retirement, just from the behind the scenes publicity photos that we've had from on set of No Time to Die. So move the sunglasses out of the way and we see the first one is Martin Amos's Time's Arrow. Lovely picture of Martin Amos on the back on the American edition. I guess it's the American edition he's getting since he's in Jamaica, and that would be the closest publishing centre. Well, first of all, what is this book about? It's quite hard to say, and I must warn you, if you do get the American edition, don't read the inside flap. There's a couple of spoilers in there which happen quite late in the book, so just go straight into it, have a read. Maybe first of all, who is Martin Amos? Martin Amos is a British author who I've heard of quite a lot. I'd say I'm reasonably well educated, but I've never actually read one of these. But I've heard of him a lot. If I'm listening to a late night arts programme, watching it on, say, BBC Two or listening to it on Radio 4, I probably will hear about him. I might hear him. He's a well-known, established figure in the British literary scene. But he's not someone I've ever approached, really because these are not the kind of light-hearted books I like to read. I like, perhaps unsurprisingly, Ian Fleming, and I like Rudyard Kipling. I like books that you can flip through, enjoy, or I read serious history books. This kind of high literature is something that I don't often delve into. I often think this is something that I'll read when I have the time, when I can settle down, to be honest, when I retire. So that's interesting. James Bond does read it, potentially, when he's retired. I guess he has the time, because this is a book to sit down, read, because it's not a commuter book. Again, lots of the books I like, they're separated chapter by chapter. You can read it on a commute into work, put it down, do your work, and later on pick it up whenever your work allows you to. This requires a bit of time. Again, it's not a beach book. It's a very interesting concept. Just before I open it up, I might be best to explain what the concept is. There's a narrator who is living inside somebody's head. Interesting concept. So we have two different people initially as the main character. I'm not sure which one is the main character, if it's the narrator or if it's the person in whose head he is living. And that person seems to be living backwards so far, so Benjamin Button, but it's not just the person, it seems to be the whole of existence is being played backwards. So now I will open it up. Ooh. I'm keeping my place for this bit with a bookmark I got in Istanbul, in the European Passage, close to the hotel where Ian Fleming stayed. So I'll read out a small section. It's a dialogue. Todd, the main character, says, "It might start a panic." Patience says, "Shout fire." Todd, "What would you do if you were in a theatre and you saw flames and smoke?" Obviously, it makes more sense when you read it backwards. What would you do if you were in a theatre and you saw flames and smoke? Patience, shout fire. Might start a panic. So the whole book is written in this curious way where if there's a dialogue, you have to read it backwards. In fact, the first piece of dialogue, it even reads backwards phonetically. So you have to read it back, then read it again to get real sense out of it. But this seems to be the world that our observer is observing. And this gives it a very interesting narrative device, which is that people talk about the past and we haven't experienced it yet. They'll say, "Do you remember when ... And it's almost like a trailer for what's coming up next. The life of Todd, who is a doctor, is slowly being revealed. It's a really unusual way of writing. It's something I haven't come across before. If you have, comment below. I'm enjoying it, but I have to say it is a bit of a deep dive. I'm reading it right now because I have the time right now. If I was retired, I think I'd delve into this book and enjoy it a lot more. It's quite absorbing. I don't find that I can take long breaks from it because I'll lose my place and I'll lose the knack of this reading down, reading up and reading down. Again, it's on Bond's table for the film No Time to Die. Is there any kind of clue for the film in here? Perhaps that the film will have something to do with Bond's past, him reckoning with the past, because a lot of this is clearly to do with trauma. But that's pretty well expected because most of Daniel Craig's films have been about dealing with trauma from the past. Quantum of Solace was entirely about it. Spectre very much focused on this. So far, I've been enjoying this book. Would I recommend it? Only if you like really serious literature. Then I would.